Now you're live.
Okay.
Let's see. Delay. What's going on? Hey, look, we're good to go.
Are we happy now?
We're happy now.
Maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. Now. All right. Does that look better, guys? Okay. Seems that we had some lunchropons getting into the cabling, and that's never a good thing. So this here on the screen is our ability builder, which you probably have seen a few pictures of here and there if you've been following the recent updates. And we're going to go ahead and show you how it works. So as we bring this up in the game, we just hit V wherever we are, and that pops up this window. And then we have this little blank spot here where we pick out whatever our primary component is going to be. So we're on a healer right now. And so if we go ahead and open this up, most of our components here are going to be magic. The first one we have here is a weapon. So if we want to make a weapon-based ability, we would select that. But let's go ahead and look through some of these other things. We can do things like displacement to knock stuff back. We can do things like swiftness to speed people up. We can do some life drain. We can do some restoration, which is heal over time. And we can do some like direct healing. And if we just go ahead and select one of these, you'll see that fills in this primary slot here. And it opens up some other slots, which will allow you to slot in some of your other components for your ability. Most of these we don't have anything in right now because they're just not hooked up in the ability system yet. But as we progress further, we will start filling these in with the different types of components that fit into them. The one that is hooked up here is the secondary component, and this, in the case of magic, defines our shape. So that's the sort of delivery system for whatever we're delivering here. So we've got our heal. So whatever we do in our secondary is going to provide healing. So if we do a dart, then that will throw a dart that heals. If we do a ball, then that will throw a ball that heals. If we do our fountain, that will do a healing fountain. And so that's sort of the way that this system fundamentally works, is you have the thing that you're doing, and then you have the way that you're delivering that to your target in the game. So if we go ahead and select our dart here, we'll have our healing dart. You'll notice up at the top we do a automatic name generation, which is something that Bull hooked up for us, which we are all greatly entertained by most of the time. And then you can fill in the notes and say, this is an awesome ability. And you can put in basically whatever you want, because we're letting you guys basically write your own ability text and decide what you want to say for your own abilities in here. Then we need to pick our icon, so we can say what icon we want to have. We can go through our list of things in here, pick out whatever picture we want for our Healy dart. We just grab something that looks sort of like this. And then all we have to do is hit build, and that'll dump all of that into a button on our hotbar. So here we have our darting rune of platitudious healingness. Thank you both for unpronounceable words. And then that just lets us, fire off this ability with our character and throw stuff. So that's all it takes. That's all we need to do in order to create our abilities. We can go ahead and grab any of these combinations, and you'll notice that we have different choices based on the primary rune that we select. So not every shape fits with every rune, but we do have a significant amount of flexibility here. So that lets you kind of pick and choose the combinations that you think will work best for your character, and lets you sort of build your character and specialize your character into the abilities that you will want to fit the playstyle that you're trying to go for. Let me go ahead and make just a basic weapon attack here. And so you'll see this shows some different slots than we had before as we were looking at our magic ability. And so each different type of ability, of which there are several, will have a different sort of tree layout here for the different types of slots that it has and the different types of components that will be able to fit together to form abilities. And again, as we move on to our later stages of testing, these will get hooked up, and you'll be able to throw things in here that will let you, modify your resource costs and modify your different sub effects that different things can deliver, and provide combinations that will provide a greater degree of flexibility and customization to your stuff. The other cool part of this is the spellbook interface. So let me go ahead and pop that open. So in here we have our actual spellbook, which is where all this stuff gets stored. So when you create something, right now we're just kicking it onto this hotbar down at the bottom here, but it also goes into your spellbook. So you don't necessarily have to have everything on your screen. And once we get our hotbar a little bit more flexible, you'll be able to drag things off of your spellbook and put them onto your hotbar and take them back off again. But everything will be stored for your reference in your spellbook, so that you'll be able to have a large pool of things to pull from, that you'll be able to draw things into your screen from for whatever situation you need. So if we go to one of these abilities here, you can see it goes to a page in your book, and this book is cool. You can flip the actual pages to go back and forth, and it kind of functions like a normal book, as opposed to just a UI widget that displays information for you. And you've got all your stats in here, so you've got how much damage something does, how much time it's going to take to use, how much resources it costs, and then we've got some of our other long-term tracking, so you can see how many times you've used the ability, how much damage is inflicted. Obviously, none of this stuff is hooked up. We're just in alpha. We haven't got a lot of all this cool tracking stuff in here, but you'll be able to see all this stuff, and you'll be able to see the historical data of the use of this ability and how well it's working for you, and how much you've used it, and how much progression you get up here in the proficiency as well, which helps you see how far along you are in optimizing this ability and learning and mastering it, so that you can go ahead and progress your character on to learning subsequent runes and components that you will need, that require you to first have learned the ones that you're using based on the ability that you've got set up. All right, so that's pretty much where we are right now. Obviously, components, you've got your general component list here, and we can page through just to look at the basic building blocks that we have, and then abilities are on a separate page, and we can page through our abilities and see our different stuff here. But that's pretty much it, and hopefully as you get into the alpha, get into the ability building system yourself, you'll be able to put some of these things together, see what they do, and give us some feedback and let us know what you think. Let's see, do you guys got any important confusions about this? Looks like everybody's just having a good time in Twitch chat. Looks like Genesee is not back at her desk over there yet, but if there's anything else cool we can do in here, let me go ahead and just grab some other stuff. Grab some runes, grab some icons, build something else. And you'll see that just pops onto the hotbar, and we can immediately cast it, and that's all it takes to put your abilities together. So it's really pretty easy. It'll get a little bit harder as we add more of our subtypes of components onto the system, but for the most part, it should be pretty straightforward, and it should allow you guys to put together some cool things pretty easily. Can you make duplicate abilities? You probably can't make the exact same ability multiple times. You can make very similar abilities, though. If you want to have, one that's a little faster, one that does a little bit more damage, you can make the same ability with just a little bit of tweaking, and then have several versions of it for the specific need that you have for the way that you want to play. Make an ability that makes an ability. No, there's no ability inception, sadly. We can't quite take it to that degree. There's not a lot of recursion functionality in the system here, but it should allow you to do quite a bit even without that. You'll be able to just grab one layer of things and put them all together in one arrangement, and they don't call into other abilities and do any kind of internal ability chaining. Abilities can chain into other abilities, and as we get a little bit further, we'll talk about how things like combos and reactives and stuff like that work. But for right now, it's just very basic, and we don't have a lot of functionalities. We're just getting this started off, kicking off here in the early alpha build of the game, and it'll get more complicated as things go along. Let's see, what are the subcomponents? So subcomponents are things like the size. Like if you looked back to the earlier version of the pre-alpha that we had like different sizes of darts. You had like a small versus a large dart, and the large dart would go slower and do more damage. The small dart would go faster and do less damage and cost less resources. And so there's, in the magic system, there's like a size component that you could add onto here and determine if you wanted something to be bigger or smaller. You can tune like the range of a projectile, how far you want it to go, versus if it's going nearer, if it's shorter range, then it's more powerful. That's a way to sort of optimize for the intended range that you want to have your engagements. And then there's stuff like infusions, which give you some extra bonus effects if you wanted to, say, have a heal over time that also, you know, provided some extra resistance or something. The added extra resistance isn't something that you've got in your base rune here if you've got your healing rune, but you could add that on as an extra effect of a modifier component later on in the infusion system, which is driven by the specific infusion that you would have to create and put into your book to get it to be part of this ability here. How do you determine the acquisition of the runes and components? So the way that you get your runes and your components and the different stuff that goes into this window here is based on your class. Your class will start off with some cool things, and then you will be able to learn new things based on use. As we said, we are doing some learn by doing, so you're going to be grabbing some proficiencies, as we saw. Let me grab that spellbook again here. So if we're in our spellbook and our abilities, we've got some proficiency right here. So you'll be able to rank up that proficiency, rank up your skill in a specific ability component, and then that'll lead to some subsequent progression so that you can learn some new cool things and unlock more of the components in the progression system. Oh, and Genesee is back over here now, so I guess I'm going to kick it back over to her, and she's going to show you some other cool things. Yep, we're good.